Hi there, Chris here with another fresh tip for you all. In this video, we are going to take a look at basically painting Jain Zar from the Aeldari faction in Warhammer 40,000. And so this is the newer sculpt. As we can see here, it's already been assembled and it is primed in a white from StanoRes using an airbrush. And to get us started, we are going to use some titanium white. And we are basically going to mix that with a little bit of yellow iron oxide. This is both our golden high flow line. We're going to use Badger Patriot 105, spraying at around 20 psi. Basically, I load the brush with about 6 drops of white and 2 drops of the yellow oxide. And then I noticed that it wasn't quite dark enough, so I added 2 more drops. So it's basically more like probably like a 6:4 type of ratio. Probably more white than anything, but basically I was looking for just a slightly darker kind of bone color, essentially is what I was looking for there. And with that, we are basically going to begin applying our base coat to this model. And with that, we're basically going to cover the entirety of the hair as well as her bodysuit. And basically, we are going to work our way around. We also do the streamers as well, because the streamers are going to get done in a similar fashion as her hair. Now, in this video, we are only going to concentrate on her hair, as there's quite a bit here to do, and I do want to take my time with this model, as many of you, I'd imagine, probably want to do as well. You know, spend a little bit more effort on these character pieces, especially such a nice sculpt like this, a really dynamic pose. Phthalo blue green shade. This is a transparency from golden. We're going to switch over to a renegade chrome to apply this, just because I do want to be a little bit more precise as how I lay this out. Now, I have not changed my PSI. It's still at around 20 PSI. So it's we're going to be working close, but it's just so that I can, lay this in fairly quickly. And you can see here as I work my way around, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this in along the bottom portions of the hair, almost like where the shadows essentially would fall. It's going to be this deeper blue color as we work our way in, and slowly but surely I build a gradient building up through the hair. And you can see on the underside, in behind, like in the nape of her back, you can see the hair gets a little darker back there. And I also will do it along her, the sides of her head as well, close up to her mask. And with this, I just basically work my way around. Now, of course, you do not need an airbrush to achieve this kind of thing. And in fact, later on, I'll show you basically when you are playing with this kind of color that basically you can feather it or blend it. You can even wet blend it if you wanted to. Many different ways to achieve color blends. And so just because I'm using an airbrush does not mean that you cannot achieve a similar result with a bristle brush. Quite the contrary, actually. You can probably achieve it just a little bit more control, especially if you want to control how much of those strands of hair are switched through the gradient, as it were, moving forward. And you can see we're just basically more colored down. I wanted to build it really intensely towards where the end of her hair kind of goes into that little tie, as well as underneath and in behind the back of her head. I quickly use a bit of silly putty here just to mask off, as I wanted to get this little area on her right hand side where this little transition occurs in her hair. And you'll see that once I pull the mask away, I really kind of just quickly did it, and you can see there's still a little bit of a gap there between the helmet and the arm where it connects up close to the head. And so basically I just come in with the airbrush and complete that transition in through that spot. I get a little bit on the armor, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. I'm going to take whatever's remaining in the airbrush, put it onto my palette, and thin it down just a little bit with some water. And with that, I'm just going to fill in some of these areas here. So in behind the head, along the sides, as well as on the other side of her head as well. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to continue on with this color. We're going to throw a little bit onto our palette. We're going to add a drop of Liquitex Fluid and a very generous amount of water. We're going to mix that in, making essentially like a shade wash, but because we have that Fluid in there, it'll fall within all the recesses and give us some nice deeper tones. And you can see how when we lay it down, how it gets really darker in the creases and the nooks and crannies, as it were. With this color, we're basically going to build a little bit more intensity into those shadowy points, and again, really kind of bring out the texture of the hair. With this, as we are laying it out, in some areas where, it's not much of a gradient there, I will feather that out, and you'll see here in a moment. And the brush I'm basically using here is a GW shade wash brush, which has got a nice long bristle length. And you can see where like the ends of the brush stroke start and end, and again, that kind of defeats the purpose of the gradient. And so really quickly here, I take my brush, rinse it off really fast, and then just with the dampness in the bristles, begin feathering out the color, and again finishing off the transition. Here you can see I'm laying a little bit more of that blue in towards the sides of the hair. And as we lay that color down, again, I just continue to feather it in. I'll grab a smaller brush just for a little bit more precise control, but then with that same brush, I will feather it out. Quinacridone Red is next. This is a transparency from Golden. We're going to use our Renegade Chrome, still spraying it around 20 psi, and with this, we're going to spray this pretty much at the top of the head, building intensity towards the top of her helmet. So, again, it's kind of intense color at the forward portion and then tapering off towards the back. And I also do it also on the tip of the tail as well. Now, it might seem kind of crazy that we're laying this really intense color down onto the hair of this model, and without really kind of having an idea is what the overall vibe is, what I'm going for here. And initially, I was inspired by another color scheme I had seen somebody else had painted, different set of models, but they went for this kind of spectral kind of color scheme where they had this really intense blues and kind of off-whites as far as the highlights were concerned. And so that was kind of the inspiration for this. Right now she looks more like one of those popsicles with the 3 colors in it, but we're going to take some more of that color, throw a little bit of water and Liquitex Flow Aid into it, and then we're just going to basically build out a little bit of intensity and build it up towards the centerpiece of her helmet. Again, just getting a little bit more intensity of color in those areas, and just so it frames her face nicely. And obviously so we can get into these little other deeper areas in through the center. I don't worry about the outer edges so much, but again, I can simply just blend this out. And working with these colors is really fun, as they don't dry really that fast, and so it gives you a little bit of time to play with the intensity and also to feather and blend the colors out. And if you've never used these colors before, they're really straightforward to use. It's nothing magical or anything like that about them. I like them just because I use them in other aspects of art, and basically on miniature painting they work just fine. We're going to jump over to our yellow iron oxide, just throw a little bit onto the palette, add a drop of Flow Aid, a generous amount of water, and we're going to thin it down into a shade wash. And we're going to lay this pretty much over the entirety of the hair. This will end up pushing the blue down towards a bit of on the green side of things. It'll also knock a bit of that saturation out. It also builds intensity and picks out the shadows in the bone areas of the hair, and on the magenta side of things, it also knocks a bit of the saturation out there. But because of the yellow quality of this color, it mixes with the blue, giving us that off kind of blue-green going on. And with the magenta on the top, it gives us closer towards red and oranges. And of course, it looks more yellow on the sides there. It looks almost like a rainbow now. We're going to jump over to the white as well as the yellow iron oxide. Basically, this is going to be a kind of rough mixture of what we had applied initially, which is about 4-to-1 ratio. It's kind of really where it is. I'm going to use a medium dry brush here, making sure that we can pull off a lot of the color. And then very carefully and deliberately, we are going to dry brush the hair. And with this, you want to be careful. You want to maintain a very light hand. And you also want to brush against the grain. And with hair, it is pretty straightforward in how we dry brush, as the hair kind of runs in one direction, so you can pretty much maintain consistent direction in your brush stroke as you work the brush back and forth. Now again, you do not want to feel the model jumping around in your hand too much, as that will be an indicator that you are applying too much pressure as you are working your way around. And I am applying this over a majority of the hair, all around, even in the shadow points as well, but I'm building more intensity towards the high points, so on top of her head and above where her hair meets up with her hair tie, and then also dry brush on the ends of the hairs at that end of the ponytail. Again, as we continue to build up the intensity of color, you can see we brought back more of that bone color that we like. We're going to jump over to titanium white and the yellow iron oxide. This is going to be about 4-5 to 1. Just again, it's going to be a bit more of a highlight. Again, it's just one drop of the yellow iron oxide, and you can see already on the palette how it is a lot brighter. Now, if you are using other paint brands, this is more like, I guess, we base coated kind of like in Ushabti Bone, and now we're using Screaming Skull to highlight. But I just wanted to demonstrate that, you know, with other paints that obviously are not labeled or even not geared towards miniature painting, that we can pretty much just use paints in whatever fashion we like, as long as, you know, we're consistent about it, we're careful, and we're also, you know, somewhat proficient in the use of these paints as well. There's nothing magical about these paints. They're just high pigmented, thin bodied paints. They're really excellent for markers and airbrushing, just as well as paintbrush as well. But any airbrush paint can be used for bristle brush painting as well. Here you see I'm simply just painting the ends of the hairs, building up some of the strands, and also picking out some of the strands as well. So a little bit more intensity in some of the strands. You'll notice where there's darker points, and then some of the strands build brighter, and the highlight goes a little further than, you know, kind of like a pure kind of zenithal type directional highlight, as it were. Of course, we'll skip ahead as I've, you know, carefully highlighted all those areas. We're going to come in with some ultramarine blue. I'm just going to slap a little bit onto my palette, add a drop of Flow Aid and no water. Just mix the two in together using a detail brush with a generous amount of water in it. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to apply these into the deeper shadowy points. So whether I want the color to build up a little bit more intensely, so that is basically where the hair tie kind of meets the hair, as well as on the end of the ponytail, and then the area in behind her head and off to her sideburn kind of areas as well. I just want a little bit more intensity, a little bit more saturation, a little deeper blue in those areas. I could have just as easily added, say, a black to the blue, just to give me a little deeper tone. Here I'm just feathering out the color as well, as I lay a little too much down and, you know, just kind of blend it out. And you can see there how, you know, again, with these paints, it's pretty straightforward because, again, you do have a bit of time to work with it. Phthalo blue green shade, generous amount of water, no Liquitex Flow Aid or anything like that. And with this, we are basically just going to build up a little bit more intensity again on the sides of her head. Again, with the intention of building this intensity up on the side of the head is so that when we get to the face, whatever colors we end up painting it, it'll stand out a lot more. So it should frame whatever way we paint her. And again, with this color scheme in her hair, it actually, once I was built up to about this point, it actually started to feel a bit more like Harley Quinn, which was kind of funny, but I'm not painting it like Harley Quinn despite what it might look like at the moment, so don't get your hopes up. Quinacridone Magenta is next. This is an opaque color. This is not a transparency. Slapping a little bit onto the palette, we're going to add a drop of Flow Aid and a generous amount of water, and this is just to build up some of the intensity towards the front portion of the hair on the top of her head. And because we have that Flow Aid in there, it's going to fall within the recesses. We're not laying this over the entirety of that area, just really concentrating towards the forward portion of it and kind of in through the central spine of it all, you know, the central core of it. And then here you can see I'm simply just laying more color down towards where it meets up with the front of the face, just so all these hairs kind of line up and it all, you know, blends visually to the eye and, you know, looks appropriate, as it were. Next, we're going to jump over to some titanium white. This is the Liquitex Flow Aid. This is the Golden High Flow. And with this, it's no thinners. We're just using our detail brush, and we're going to apply some intense highlights. Now, again, it's at the curvature of that hair, the top of the head, and a little bit at the end of the ponytail hair. Some of these highlights here, again, you can see I'm just laying a little bit more intensity really at this high point of the curvature. Nothing is really done on the interior, but of course some of these highlights I do bring a little bit further down, and because this paint is not very thick. It's a very thin body paint. It is actually very good for glazing, and if anybody really wants to play with glazing and getting used to thinner body paints and working in this fashion, this paint is actually really good in that regard, because basically I just do 2 passes and to build that intensity up of color, and again get that transition of color going on in the hair. But that is it. That is the first part of looking at Jain Zar for the Aeldari army. She's the Phoenix Lord. I picked up this model a while ago, and I'm finally getting around to getting it done. And so this was just part 1. So stay tuned for the rest. Probably will work on, I don't know, the armor, I guess, the main bodysuit, I guess. Big thank you to my patrons. Without their support, these videos would not be possible. If you're considering Patreon support, click the link in the description below. There are varying tiers of support, and so a huge thank you to everybody who considers supporting this channel. Take care of those brushes, and they will take care of you.